Hi everyone, my name is Alex Frankie and I am the reigning Miss Kentucky. I'm so excited to be talking to you all today. Usually we would be doing in-person visits and we'd be hanging out and hugs and high fives and singing songs and dancing, but we're gonna have to do that virtually right now. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, I actually am Miss Kentucky 2019 and 2020, so I'm the only Miss Kentucky to ever serve for 2 years, which is pretty cool. So I was crowned in June of 2019 in Louisville, and the Miss Kentucky competition happens every year with about 30 to 40 girls from all over Kentucky, ages 18 through 25. Now, these are typically college girls because when you compete for Miss Kentucky, you're competing for scholarship money. So if you win Miss Kentucky, you receive a scholarship to go to college. And even if you don't win Miss Kentucky, you get a scholarship just for competing. Now, if you want to be Miss Kentucky, you first have to win a city or a local competition, as we call it. So you know how you have to complete 5th grade before you go to 6th grade? It's kind of the same deal. You have to win a local title before you can try and win the state title. And then you have to have that state title before you can try to win the national title, which is Miss America. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But my local title, I competed for 3 years before I won Miss Kentucky. So I was Miss Lexington, which is where I'm from, right here. I was Miss UK, and I was Miss Central Kentucky. And when I was Miss Central Kentucky is when I won Miss Kentucky. So I was really proud to represent them that year. But there are all kinds of titles all over the state. But I think we might need a Miss Jessamine County because that's where I'm living now. And I think that it's pretty fantastic. What do you guys think? Well, the Miss Kentucky competition is centered around preparing women to be great people in the world. People who love their communities, love people, have a passion for education and professional occupations, whatever it may be. The Miss America organization exists to give scholarship money to girls so that we can pursue our dreams. So I've won over $38,000 by competing in the Miss Kentucky organization because I also had the opportunity when I was 17 years old to be Miss Kentucky's Outstanding Teen. Now, Miss Kentucky's Outstanding Teen is the little sister program to Miss Kentucky. So that's for girls aged 13 through 17. And you're probably wondering, Miss Kentucky, were you like toddlers and tiaras or something? Not at all. I could not have been farther from that. I couldn't pay attention in dance class. I was terrible at ballet, and my parents put me in swimming because that was what I was good at when I was little. But I actually found out about the Miss America's Outstanding Teen organization when I was in high school. So I was a sophomore in high school, and I heard about a way to earn scholarship money to go to college because at the time I was thinking about going to college out of state, which is very, very expensive. So I was looking for lots of ways to earn scholarship money. So what I did is I researched it. I got online. I said, okay, here's one. There's one local competition left in the season. Looks like I'm just going to jump in and give it a shot. And by the grace of God, I won that local competition and got to compete at Miss Kentucky's Outstanding Teen that year. So I got started competing because of the scholarship money, but I stayed because it gave me an opportunity to perform and work on my talent. It gave me a voice and a platform to talk about issues that I cared about, and it gave me a way to serve my community alongside amazing girls who became some of my best friends. So if you want to compete in the Miss Kentucky or Miss Kentucky's Outstanding Teen competition, there are a couple different phases of competition. Now, the first phase, it all starts out with a private interview with the judges. So that's you and like 5 to 7 judges in a room, like the size of a classroom. And they're going to ask you questions about you, about why you want to be Miss Kentucky, what you would do if you had the job of Miss Kentucky, what your life has been like, what you think about certain things happening in our world, all kinds of stuff. They might even ask you a silly question like, what's your favorite ice cream? But after that interview is when the onstage competition starts. Now, if you've ever seen Miss America on TV, you probably know a little bit about how there are different phases of competition that every girl competes in. So we don't have a swimsuit competition. We have lifestyle and fitness for our outstanding teens. So if you're 13 through 17, you're going to be doing push-ups and jumping jacks and stuff on stage to show that you're committed to a healthy lifestyle. But in the Miss program, the emphasis is more on your well-roundedness in speaking and articulation. So we really focus on having an interview session with the judges on stage. So our 3 areas of competition are on-stage interview, talent, and evening gown. So evening gown's pretty fun because you get to wear a beautiful dress, but when you're in that beautiful dress, you get 10 seconds to talk about your platform. And your platform is an issue or something that you care about. So mine is called Adopt an Art, and I started a nonprofit to connect schools with arts resources so every student could have a chance to learn an instrument, how to dance, how to paint, or how to sing. I wanted to make sure every child in Kentucky had the opportunity to do the things that I love, which are dancing and acting and singing. But that's not true for everybody. Not everybody has that opportunity. So that's why I made it my platform. But there are all kinds of platforms like breast cancer awareness, childhood cancer awareness, foster care, leadership and volunteerism. Your platform doesn't have to be like something that everybody else is doing. In fact, it should be something that is most personal to you. So think for a second, what would my platform be if I were trying to be Miss Kentucky? And figure out what issue you care about that you would want to advocate on behalf of and use your voice for. A big part of the Miss America organization is giving you a voice so that you can be an intelligent, educated woman that is speaking on behalf of people and causes that really need your support. So after the onstage interview, you get an opportunity to do your talent. And my talent is singing, and I love to sing. I've been singing ever since I was a little kid. And I always do like a musical theater style, like from a Broadway show or play. I always do some kind of song from those because it's most fun for me to be able to dance and act and sing at the same time. But your talent doesn't have to just be singing or dancing. It can be playing the piano or making pottery or doing a science experiment or playing piano or ukulele, whatever it is. You have 30 seconds. You have 90 seconds to do your talent on the Miss Kentucky stage, and that's where your talent score comes from. So after all those competitions, on stage interview where they ask you some questions, just like they did in the private interview, talent and evening gown, they pick a Miss Kentucky. And I was so honored that they chose me to be Miss Kentucky, but it didn't stop there. Like that was just the beginning of the fun. So being Miss Kentucky is actually a full-time job. So what does that mean? That means that I don't work or go to school. In fact, I already graduated, but that means that being Miss Kentucky is my job. That's what I get up every day and go to work and do. So what does that look like? Do I go and sit in an office and do paperwork? Not at all. In fact, the job of Miss Kentucky is a very special one because I get to go out and show people love every single day. Now, most of my stuff as Miss Kentucky is done with the Kentucky Department of Agriculture because Miss Kentucky is the spokesperson for the Kentucky Proud label. Now, what is agriculture? It's just a big fancy word for farming. So I work for the Kentucky Department of Farming and do all kinds of things related to agriculture. So when I go to schools and do my presentations, we talk about how important it is to eat healthy foods and how those healthy foods can come from right in our own backyard or from a farmer right down the road. Those healthy foods are grown right here in Kentucky and give us all the nutrients we need to reach our goals. We also talk about how there are lots of career opportunities in the agriculture field and how there are lots of misconceptions about agriculture, just like how chocolate milk doesn't come from brown cows. But when I'm not doing stuff for agriculture, I get to be the state Goodwill Ambassador for Children's Miracle Network hospitals, which means I get to serve Kentucky Children's Hospital and Norton Children's Hospital in Lexington and Louisville and do everything I can to help raise funds and awareness for them. Children's Miracle Network Hospitals provides resources, help, and care to families who are in the hospital with their children. But they also do things like provide research, provide medical equipment. Children's Miracle Network has done so much for our hospitals, and it's an honor to get to work with them. I get to do all kinds of special stuff too, in addition to my school visits and my hospital visits, because I get to kind of have a front row seat at some of the coolest things happening in Kentucky. When the Derby runs in May, I'll get to be a hostess for the Derby, and I'll get to welcome people from all over the world to our old Kentucky home to enjoy the Kentucky Derby experience. Hopefully I'll get to represent at the Breeders' Cup because the horse industry is so important to Kentucky. I've had the opportunity to work with Kentucky Farm Bureau and auction off their winning ham at the state fair. I got to hand out ribbons to 4-H and FFA kids who won competitions at state fair. I've been able to attend the FFA Gala. I sing the national anthem about once a week. That is one of the perks of being a singer, is I get asked all the time to be a part of some really special events, like the swearing in that happens in Frankfurt at the Capitol. That was pretty cool to get to sing at that, and I got to sing at a UK basketball game, a UK gymnastics meet. I mean, it has been such a blessing to be able to be a part of so many cool events as Miss Kentucky this year. But the number one thing that I want to do as Miss Kentucky is to make people feel loved and seen and important. So like I said, when I first started competing for Miss Kentucky's Outstanding Teen, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even know what I was getting myself into. And we have this event every single year called the Miss Kentucky Gala. And at this gala, all the girls who are going to compete come and enjoy and have dinner and dance and bring their families and their friends. And it's kind of like one big party to raise money for the Miss Kentucky scholarships that they give out. Now, the year that I first started competing, I didn't know anything about the gala. I thought that we would just come in like a Sunday best church dress or something that we would wear to homecoming, and we would wear our crowns and our sashes, because why not? I didn't know any better. Well, I walked into the room and saw that everyone was in long formal gowns and tuxedos. No one was wearing a crown except the girl that was Miss Kentucky and Miss Kentucky's Outstanding Teen. And no one was wearing sashes or anything like that. And I was so embarrassed, I wanted to just melt into the floor and cry and go home. I mean, I was 16 years old and I felt like I was up on a stage for all the world to see and I had forgotten the words to a song. That's how I felt. So I was walking around, I looked really lost, really confused, and a girl came up to me and she said, "Hi, are you new?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm very new. And I don't know anyone here and I don't know what I'm doing." And she said, "Well, why don't you come sit with me and my family at our table?" And I said, "Oh, okay, great, thank you." So I ended up sitting with this girl, her name's Jenna Day, and I sat with Jenna all night long. She made me feel so special and so important. She wanted to learn about me and my life. She told me about how she was competing for Miss Kentucky that year, and I was just so grateful to have made a friend. Well, Jenna Day went on to become Miss Kentucky that year, and I thought, man, Jenna is exactly what Miss Kentucky is supposed to be. Miss Kentucky is supposed to be someone that makes people feel loved, like they are the most important person in the room when she's talking to them, and like they belong, no matter how misplaced they might feel. And I said, one day I hope I can become Miss Kentucky to make people feel the way Jenna Day made me feel. And I'd like to think that that's true. I've had an incredible time being Miss Kentucky in the first half of my year, and I'm ready for the second half. I believe that there are so many opportunities to show people love and to make them feel important, and that is absolutely my job. It's not to be a celebrity or a TikTok star or a YouTuber or anything like that. I think my job is to be the number one encourager and loving every single person in the state of Kentucky. So I hope you all have enjoyed getting to hear from me today. If you have any questions, be sure to reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook, or have your parents do it if you're not old enough to have an account. I would love to connect with you guys and answer any questions you might have. And you never know, you might be the next Miss Kentucky. Bye, guys.